Hi guys, welcome to season 2 of our podcast, Ladies Who Lift.
You can now stream on all platforms including Spotify, Apple Podcasts and even YouTube for our visual listeners.
Hello again, guys.
Hello, we're on to episode 7.
Which has gone so quickly. We were saying that we started the podcast in July and that felt like 2 weeks ago.
I can't believe it.
We're now approaching November.
But was it August when we actually posted our first episode? I think it was.
But still, thinking of this studio,
it's gone so quick.
It's gone so quickly.
So quick.
I hate it.
Don't worry, we will be back with another season.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy how fast this one's gone. Got one more after this.
The new season might even be hosted in your new flat.
I don't want to make any promises because you just don't know what could happen. But the plan of action is to be able to do it at home, which would be so cool.
Basically, Zoe has bought a flat and she has said specifically that before she puts her bed and living room in there, she's going to design the podcast studio. And wherever the podcast studio goes, that's the main priority. And then her bed's just going to go wherever she can fit it.
Not just podcast studio, the YouTube videos. Because at the moment, I live with my parents. So we've got like a big room that we can do our YouTube videos in. Mm-hmm. And when my parents are moving as well. So when I move, we're not going to have that room anymore. So luckily, I've got to organise my flat around
our business. But luckily, your flat is quite big. Like, for what you're getting two.
Yeah, I do have a spare room.
Bathrooms.
So don't worry, guys. You're not actually taking my bedroom up. Because I will have a room.
Yeah. She'll be sleeping on the floor, but that's fine because we're going to be able to
The bed's not going to fit because we need to have space for this. So.
Basically, your priority.
I hope you feel good about that. Talking of business,
we're actually doing a whole episode on our kind of story about how we started this business and how we got to talking to you on a sofa now.
Yeah, and I think kind of starting a business as two 18-year-old girls and maybe like things that maybe some tips if you want to start a business, but also things that we might have struggled with. And I want to be really transparent about it because I think in most people who own businesses, this is my theory anyway. I feel like I always start off with some kind of theory. And this is my theory.
I agree with your theory because I've already heard this theory and I agree with it.
Most people who own businesses, you always look at them and you think, wow, like they've really got it together. This looks great.
They must be earning so much money. They look so happy.
Yeah.
Their business is huge.
Yeah, they must be so successful. They must like literally be so lucky. What I would give to be in that position. But actually, it's not always like that. And I feel like, especially being on social media, and obviously not all businesses are social media based, but ours is very social media based. I think it's really important to talk about that. And
the things that you have to go through to get to where we are right now. And even when we are right now, we're so grateful for it, but we still want to strive to be better and still be happier in the business.
Yeah.
But I feel like, again, it's harder for people with big businesses that aren't necessarily on social media. They can't show that they're down points and show that they're the things that they have struggled with. But every single business that you come across, every single business you bought from has all had a point in their time where they're like, that's not worked, what are we doing wrong? We put so much effort into that, like we're going to go bust basically. And we know so many people that have nearly gone bust because life happens, doesn't it?
But you never know that because it would be like wrong or bad for a business to show that they're struggling, I guess. And in some cases that is true. Like a business doesn't want to let on that they're not doing as well as you might think. But and this isn't us like crying for help saying we're about to go under, there's no more Zoe fit.
Guys, you're not going to see us again next week. We are not going to be here.
This is the end, we're bankrupt. But I just think it's really important to talk about it and talk about maybe things that we've struggled with. And one thing that we really wanted to mention was about like kind of hate and going into, I mean, some of it was probably from ourselves worrying about what people thought too much, but I think starting something that's a little bit different, and I guess a successful business always starts with something a little bit different.
You're not following if you want to start your own business, you're not following the natural plan of, especially in school, because after school we were supposed to go to uni and people don't like when you make waves in the system. So I think, especially me, I was like, ooh, I don't want to do anything different and I don't, it's too much. And I'm so glad that I did start my own business because it's the best thing I ever have done. And I get so much enjoyment out of what I do. And that's so important. Like, as long as, it doesn't really matter how much stress you face in a business, as long as you love it at the end of the day, it will pay off.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like we should start with like where it started, because
where it all began.
I feel like when you see someone with a business, you always think that one day they woke up in the morning and they had this light bulb moment and they thought, okay, I'm going to create this business. This is going to like be my life.
They have a whole strategy
This is where I'm
planned
going to make all
out.
my money. This is my strategy. And
Billionaires
this is
overnight.
Yeah.
It just doesn't
And
happen.
I wish. But I feel like we should, like, because we definitely didn't plan to be here. It happened. We worked really hard, but it wasn't like how it was at the start.
We had to make so many mistakes, like so many mistakes.
Yeah.
And we have had so many times where we've been like, this isn't working. Like, what do we do? Like, there's been so many times. I can't even count it on
And
two
it's a little
two
bit
hands.
soul destroying, isn't it?
It is. Like, you know, when you've worked on something so much and it just doesn't come, like, you really believe in something and it just doesn't come to light the way that you thought it would come.
Yeah.
Like, he portrayed, and that, like, it is very soul destroying, but that will then lead you on to the next thing, which is kind of what happened with us on so many occasions, hasn't it?
And we want to tell like a few stories of where we got to and kind of why things that have happened that have made us feel really rubbish and how we've got to it and where we're coming from. But I think even when we started, it's really important to say that we didn't start because we wanted to start this business and we wanted to make money.
Absolutely.
We were both doing A-levels in school. You kind of did A-levels because you didn't know what else to do, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I had no idea. And I didn't want to go to uni yet. I didn't want to leave my friends. I was having too much fun.
And I knew I wanted to do A-levels, but I didn't really know why. And then halfway through doing my A-levels, I remember having conversations with my mum and dad where I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I don't want to do A-levels. This isn't for me. I'm just going to go and do an apprenticeship or whatever, which would still have been a great option. But they said, you've got to finish what you started. Come on. And then I did. I'm glad I did. I don't regret that at all. I'm so, they're wiser than me.
Everything pushed us in this direction, didn't it?
Exactly. So we carried on, we finished our A-levels, but then during the end of that, we started going to the gym. And you might have heard us mention this before if you've listened to previous episodes, but we started going to the gym together, and then that's when we created our Instagram account. And everything else has kind of stemmed from that, hasn't it?
And we didn't create the Instagram account to be big influencers. Like, we didn't. We never thought that title would be given to us, and we still say to this day, if someone asks us what our job role is, we say PTs, because it still hasn't like kind of registered. But we originally started the account to be just private, didn't we? Just for school friends. And then lockdown came and we started doing things in the garden just purely out of fun. Like, the whole account was run on fun and hobby for like 2 years.
What else did we have to do in lockdown other than do this Instagram that we started just before?
Absolutely. Like, there was a video, I don't know whether it's still on the page, it must be still on the page, but there's a video of me out in the snow outside of my, like, I live on a big main road basically, and I've got this yoga mat on top of probably 2 inches of snow in front of loads of cars that are going past, getting beeped at. I'm doing this workout. Like, I could not think, I can't give you a reason why I did that other than the fact that I actually just loved what I was doing and I needed to get these videos out to help people.
Yeah, we just wanted to do our lockdown workouts, didn't we?
Absolutely.
And then that's where a personal trainer course came in. And then because I'd done the course, because we wanted to make sure that we could show people correctly what to do, then we got into, lockdown's just ending. We didn't go to university, so might as well just do a bit of work in a gym. And that kind of fell into place.
We both became PTs.
Yeah, and that's our separate businesses. So we both do in-person training in a gym, but we do that. We've always just gone and done that ourselves.
We've got our fingers in a couple of different pies, haven't we, really?
I guess so, yeah.
We've done that for like 5 years now, I'd say. And there's something about, it doesn't matter how big we grow our Instagram, there's something about having in-person clients, and we've been saying for ages that we don't think we could ever let go our in-person clients, because me personally, I've got someone for like 3 years now, and we've been through so much together.
Yeah, and unless we were genuinely like too busy, I wouldn't want to just stop.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
think it's definitely been more of a, we've got a lot on our plate at the minute since starting the podcast, and then since starting YouTube. Like, it is a lot more than you can imagine. And I know that some people will say that and think that it's quite easy, but it is actually, like, it is full on. Like, editing these YouTube videos takes flipping ages. And then you've got other things that you like need to make sure that you've got free time for in-person online clients. But the way we kind of split our business is something that we'll get onto later. Yeah. But the way we kind of split our business is that I do most of the editing and you do most of the online clients. Yeah. Just because otherwise it gets messy, and we play to each other's strengths a little bit. Like, I think it always has just naturally felt like that.
Yeah, well, we kind of went into that position, those kind of work positions by accident. And I think this is part of running a business well, especially if you're going to do it with somebody else. Obviously, eventually with a business it's going to get to a point where you can't do it all yourself anyway. So if you're on your own trying to do it, then you probably would need to employ, I don't know, if I didn't have you, it wouldn't be able to do all that we do. There'd be no way. So I guess you'd employ someone at that point. I'm not sure. But we naturally, like at the start, we did a Q&A on YouTube, didn't we, where we kind of spoke over this, but we naturally kind of fell into our like work posts
quite early on, actually.
Yeah, we kind of struggled with the dynamic of, okay, you edit, then I edit, then you post that video on Instagram, then I'll get that one up. And then it was just a little bit like, okay, but then what if one week someone's not slacking, someone's had a bad week, or someone's feeling ill, or you've not had time to do it? Then it's hard, because then you don't want to get annoyed at the other person for not getting it up. But actually, when someone has a clear job,
you know you've got that job and you want to stick to it.
And then it's your job to hold yourself to that.
Because then it's like you've both got different, like we've both got different job roles really in what we do.
Yeah.
So I know what I need to make sure that I get done at the end of the day, and Zoe knows what she needs to get done at the end of the day. And if that doesn't get done, it's not on both of you, it's on yourself, and you can hold yourself to that rather than the other person going, have you done that? I kind of need that. Do you know what I mean? So it's good.
Yeah, I think if you're running a business with someone else, that's probably one of the first things I'd say is don't try and both do exactly the same jobs, because otherwise, what's the point in running the business together?
You've got to work out your strengths.
Yeah, and obviously part of the point of us doing it together is that we show on Instagram, we show in our videos that there's two options. But aside from that, in terms of actual behind the scenes of business, we needed separate roles, because if you're both trying to do the same roles, then one of you eventually is going to slightly overtake the other one, because that's natural. And then there's going to be more tension, there's going to be harder. Everyone's trying to do everything. So you just end up getting burnt out.
I think people have said from the start, I remember a couple of conversations like, how do you do that together? And like people are really, really shocked when we say that we do a business together, but we've never really, I know we've touched on this in the past, but our relationship has grown a lot since starting a business together, and it's just about communication and understanding. And we know that we want this to work. So, and we also want our friendship to work. So we're never going to let anything get in between it. And honestly, it's been more fun than anything really. Like I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else. I wouldn't want to do this business with anyone else.
And friendship wise, it's the best thing we ever did.
Yeah, 100%.
It's been so
I have to sit in a room with you every single day.
We have to literally do a friendship therapy session on podcast every week.
Really, the only thing that I've struggled with this business, and we'll go back to our story time in a minute, but the only thing that we've struggled with really is the fact that we forget to do friendship time.
Yeah.
We have select days in our calendar sometimes where we've been with each other for like 2 or 3 weeks non-stop, just talking about work. We've been like, we need a friendship day, so we actually have to put it on Google Calendar, friendship day, don't talk about work. Yeah. And we make a rule up that we make a punishment if one of us talks about work, and Zoe's really bad for this. Zoe
can't not bring it up.
Always bring up work, whether we've strictly said no
trait.
work.
It's a toxic trait.
And our punishment for it is you've got to turn and face the wall like a little child for 5 minutes and think about your actions.
In silence. You have to stop talking about the work that you're talking about, and you have to turn around and face the wall.
Yeah. But going back onto our story time, where were we? So we did it for like 2 years.
Yeah.
For not for free, but like
social media wise,
just a hobby.
Yeah.
Really, we never ever.
We did it as a hobby, and then we were doing our personal training on the side in the gym. And we started. I remember when we first started talking about, okay, but it was probably started from me, because I feel like this has always been where I've been a bit of a strength. Is okay, but we need to start making money from this now. Like not literally that, but kind of like we're doing all this work on Instagram every week.
We're dedicating a lot of time. Because it started off being like maybe 2 hours a week, just out of a hobby, and obviously we had the time in lockdown, didn't we?
And then lockdown finished. I was working in Tesco's at the time, and Tesco's was actually quite full on. It was full on, all right. And I was doing like long days, and then coming home, and I wasn't on the till. I was on like fruit and veg, so I was packing all day and then coming home and filming. It was an even
longer job for you because you hated it.
Yeah, at the end I hated it. I dreaded every day, didn't I?
Yeah.
And I got really in my head about getting stuck there. And I know I was never gonna get stuck in one place, but I was like in my head about, okay, what if I just like I'm at Tesco for the rest of my life now? That's my career, because I've not gone to uni. So what am I gonna do then with that? And I just didn't want that for myself. There's nothing wrong with that, but
it's just the fact that you've got to do something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Like,
and
I know that you didn't enjoy that job. No. I didn't. We both worked at a pub prior as well. So I've had like 2 jobs. I did swimming teaching for a little bit, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And then I did the pub work for a little bit because I was taking the course at that time.
Well,
I didn't
we were
have
like
time
16,
for it.
Weren't we?
Yeah, and I did some pub work for a little bit. absolutely despised that job. I absolutely, like, some people really like it, but I absolutely, like, it wasn't me at all. And
No.
I would drop things all the time, and it was just chaos. In fact, I don't even know why they paid me, because I think I reversed the amount. I cost them more than I actually helped out with. But
oh my god.
I knew that I didn't want to be, I've always known that I didn't want to be in a job that I hated or that I didn't like, because I want to enjoy my career. It's something that you spend half your life working. So why not be doing something that you enjoy?
Yeah, and I think if you're in a job, obviously you need a plan of action. You need like, you can't just leave a job just because it's not fulfilling you. Like, life doesn't work like that. But if you are in a job that isn't fulfilling you have to realize how much time of your life, that job is basically your life in a way. Like, although you're not defined by your job, you're spending 8 hours a day there in on average. So that is like a huge part of your life. If you don't get on with the people you work with, if the people you work with aren't lifting you up, if the actual job you're doing isn't feeling like it's fulfilling you, then like, you need, like, keep looking, don't give up, keep, like, it doesn't have to be that you're self-employed, but I do so strongly believe that there will be something out there that will be more for you, and you should look for it, you should try, you should keep going.
I think a lot of people think they get so far down in their career that they think it's too late to change as well.
Yeah, because it's never too late to change.
It's never too late to change your career. If you're not happy, it's probably going to be a little bit of a cutback for a little bit. Like you said, when you finished Tesco, that was a big risk, because at the time we weren't earning pretty much anything from social media.
Self-employed at that point.
Fully self-employed with your PT, and that did actually much better than you could have imagined.
Yeah.
But you had that time then to put into social media as well.
Yeah.
And it look where we've made it a job now.
Yeah.
So
you
have to take risks.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate as well, like, there was people that I met working at Tesco who, that was like, they loved the fact they could just go and have a stress-free job and then leave, and that's great. Like, if you don't want to go home and think about work, don't become self-employed. Maybe that's not the job for you.
You need to find your flow.
Our last episode was on overthinking and stress, wasn't it? But if you're an overthinker and you're a stressor, being self-employed is a big thing to take
It's
on.
a big commitment.
It's
but
a
there
big
is
commitment.
massive perks of being
Massive
self-employed.
perks, not having a boss.
Massive perks. Yeah. Massive perks of being employed. Self-employed. Yeah, 100%. But, like, everyone's going to be different, aren't they?
Yeah.
In that respect.
Anyway, took the risk because I left Tesco and then started just doing PT, and we weren't making money from social media at that point.
But we were still carrying on social media. We still knew that we wanted to. And at this point, so we were on like 10,000 followers for maybe like a year.
Yeah.
Because I remember when we first hit 8,000 followers, and we were like, I had a dream about that one day.
When we first started the Instagram, I had a dream about 800.
800, yeah.
Yeah, when we first started the Instagram, I woke up from a dream I'd had. We were still in A-levels. I remember it so well because I remember going into school and thinking about it. And we just started our account, or just like made it on private or something, and I'd had a dream in the night that we had 800 followers on Instagram. And I was so like, oh my gosh, wow, we had 800 followers, and that is amazing.
I remember thinking, wow.
But now if we get like 800 likes, we're like, oh, we're having a stressful week.
Yeah, and that's another thing about thingy. That's another thing about being
social media,
running a business, and like, you're so quick to forget where you came from originally.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think now that we are fully self-employed, at first I put all my kind of like hope and reliance on in-person clients, and that was enough. And now I'm in this new mindset where, like, you start thinking, okay, that's not enough. And now when I have a bad month with social media or online coaching or anything like that, I still get really stressed about that. But I used to put all my reliance on in-person clients.
The more your business grows, the more you put pressure on yourself, and the more unhappy you become.
Yeah.
Like, I've actually noticed that the more our business has grown, as much as I still enjoy it, the more pressure you do put on. And I look back at the days where we didn't make a penny from social media, and they were the best days. Like, there was no pressure, there was no worry about engagement, no worries about losing followers, gaining followers, no worries about brand deals, no worries about this, no worries about that. We did everything out of just pure love for it, and that's so special. And you shouldn't forget that when you start making money from your career, because you want to remember why you did it in the first place. Everyone that's self-employed has made that leap because they believe fully what they're doing and they enjoy what they're doing.
And I think it's important to go through that, like, for us to go through the phase where we did it for like probably more than 2 years where we didn't get paid a penny. That was really important for us, because seeing what we're like now, if we'd only ever got paid from it, we would never probably be able to be like grateful and not be stressed, because we would never know what it's like to kind of go through the slog. And I think if you're starting a business that you really believe in and you're really going for it and you really want to help people, or you really believe in this idea, then keep going with it. Obviously you need to live, I understand, and you need to keep working and making the money to live, but don't just like give up on something when it doesn't work straight away, because
you have to, like, there's been so many, going back to our story time, there's been so many things that we have had to try to then be like, okay, that's not for us, we'll follow a different path. Like, when we did start making money through social media, that's when we kind of was like, oh, what can we do then with this? Like, what can we, if we're going to put more time into this and stop taking on as many clients, we kind of need to make a little bit more of a living out of this to keep it going. Because we do put so much effort and work into what we do. And I'm so proud of what we do put out, that it's very well thought out and it's very well edited. I'm blowing my own trumpet. She does say I'm blowing my own trumpet here, but like, I do believe in the content that we put out, but we need also time to do that. So I forgot my point.
That oh my gosh, no, it's coming back. It's going to come back. That we do need to eventually get paid from it. So then we started thinking about making money.
So then we started thinking.
Online coaching was the first thing.
Online coaching was the first thing. I think we probably were about 20.
It must have been about 2 years ago. Yeah. And we, I'd had this idea, like, we'd both had this idea, but I really wanted to like find about it. And I remember we went to this event, and our main goal of the event was to talk to people, like, because we're from Leicester, so we don't really meet many creators or influencers or anything. So we were going to this event in London, and we were like, okay, if we get nothing else from this event, we're a bit nervous because we weren't used to going to like influencer things. And we said to ourselves, if there's nothing else we're going to get from this, we're going to find out how people do online coaching. So we did a bit of market research. So I guess that's a good step for if you're starting a business. Like, talk to like-minded people, do your market research, find out how other people do it, and then make your own thing. And I think that's where we maybe made a bit of a mistake, but I'm glad that we made the mistake because we've learned so much from it. But I think we went with the first thing that we kind of heard of and went for, and it didn't go exactly how we wanted it to. We had like a bit of a hard time with like a manager, and we didn't really get the response we thought.
Yeah, and we were quite young, and how do we say it? Would you say vulnerable? Just a little bit.
Yeah, because we were 18. No, we must have been 20. 19, 20.
We hadn't done anything like that, and we were like, it's easy to just take the mic, isn't it?
And
two girls that don't know really what they're doing. They're young,
and a company's telling us what to do.
Yeah, and the cut was humongous. So the amount of work that we ended up doing, they would then get 50% of when they're just really sat behind a desk doing nothing.
Yes, and they would put. So I went on holiday that summer that we started coaching, and we were told by the like manager guy that like we needed to do calls, we needed to do all the work. Like, if I had a day where I wasn't contacting people who had inquired about online coaching, he was like, why are you not like getting people on? I was so stressed. I was like, my family were going out for the day in Devon.
I was on holiday. It was coming to launch day when we actually went to launch it. Yeah. And we needed a call before just to make sure everything was up and running. Like, we didn't know it was their platform, so we needed guidance on how to launch. And he had this whole strategy, and then it came to the day. I was in Greece at the time, so I had to take my laptop on holiday.
Yeah, and we wanted to do a call with
connect to the Wi-Fi, and we had the day where we had the call.
We couldn't choose, and also now as business, like, we'd never allow us to not choose when our launch day was for something. Like, why would we not launch?
But then it came to launch day, and we were both on the laptops. I hadn't gone on a family like excursion. And we logged on, and he wasn't there. He didn't reply for the whole day.
And then the next day, sorry, my laptop was in Apple.
Mate, he was out. He was out. You could tell. But that's like, I think that's something that everyone will go through, especially if you're starting a business when you're younger. Like, people will take advantage of you. And you just take advantage. That's the
and I think you learn that from experience. Like, if we'd never gone through that, then now when we've had new experiences with different people try, and I think especially being young girls in business, people try and give you their ideas, and they want you to do what they want you to do because it will benefit them, basically. And I think us being naive and kind of thinking, oh, what do we know? we just said yes to everything.
Yeah,
and then that meant that
absolutely.
we had to learn the hard way a little bit. Actually, just because someone else who seems bigger than you is telling you this is what's going to be right, doesn't mean that's the best thing for your business. And also having a bit of a backbone and kind of being like, I think
You've developed a backbone.
Yeah, I've really learned to say no and be like,
I've not yet.
I'm
still yet
the
to.
people pleaser on my right is still learning about that. But I've learned, like, sometimes probably too far now, but I've learned a lot in situations. Like, you can't say yes straight away if you don't want it. Like, now, if they were going to try and tell me that I needed to launch this coaching business while we were both on holiday, I would have said, absolutely not.
Hang on a minute.
Give me a week.
Take a step back.
Yeah, who do you think you are? Give me a week. I'm not launching this on holiday.
It's true though. You really need to learn not to take crap if you're
and
running.
Being true to yourself, because it was like the selfie that you put on, and we were told, why did you post that? That's not about online coaching. You can't post that anymore.
But we have our own like I said earlier, we believe in what we put out, so we don't want to change our whole
Instagram
just to get money. Like that's that's never ever been what we're being about.
Yeah, and I think companies and brands in this space will try and tell you what they want because that will be better for them.
Yeah.
But if it's not better for you and it doesn't align with what you believe in or what you're trying to do with your Instagram or your social media or your business, then don't just say yes because someone who seems bigger than you is telling you.
We originally said we only really wanted 10 clients on online coaching to start because obviously we didn't have a huge following at that time anyway, and we didn't have a lot of time to put in, and we wanted to make sure that the time we were putting into these people, they were getting what they deserved basically, and getting the time that they deserved, because it's not like people are trusting you, so like you have to be able to have enough time to put into them. And eventually they tried to convince us that we needed like 50 to 100 clients for them to even like really care about giving us advice, and it just felt like we were just a bit of a money-making machine for them, and that's never how it should be in a business. You need to stay true to yourself, and it's not all about money. You need to just build it off your morals in the business and what you believe in, because it's so easy to then chase that money route and then completely forget why you started the business in the first place.
Yeah, and that brings us to where we are now with like coaching and apps, I think, because again, like even we then like got stubborn about it eventually, and we were like, we learned the hard way after 2 years. We were like, okay, we need to do what we want to do, and we did our own thing basically, and now we do it like off our own back.
We moved platforms.
Yeah, everything was created for us before, so like the website and the platform was all there already, and we basically like designed it all ourselves, and the amount of like hours of design and work and taking photos and everything that went into it was 100% worth it. But I think
100%.
We set something up which, if we're being totally honest, like we thought that going a different route from like just one-to-one online coaching and being really specific, we thought actually, okay, if we make like a really affordable option which would be more kind of, we don't actually coach you, it's just all the workouts are in there, which I still think is really great idea for people who can't afford one-to-one coaching, because when one-to-one coaching does have to be more expensive than this because it's more personalized. Like I have to spend my hours every day kind of making sure I'm caught up with everyone, and so we wanted to give this option, and I think we thought that was going to do way better because it was a new idea. And although like, you know, it's still available, it's still there, we kind of were banking on that being like it then, like this is going to be so good, like we've done this for the people.
Put so much work in it, and we actually had so much belief in it that it would do better than the one-to-one coaching.
Yeah.
We originally believed that, and we originally not wanted that. We obviously still did want to do one-to-one coaching as well, but we wanted like an affordable option, because that's what our Instagram's all about really, is just making fitness accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
So we thought it would be a great idea. It ended up not being as successful as we thought it would be, but that pushes in a completely different direction, and it just kind of there's little hints throughout being self-employed that I believe is pushing you in the right direction. It's kind of like creating a path for you, but you just have to take the little things. And that's not to say like something hasn't worked out so you give up on it, because if our Instagram didn't work out and we gave up on it, none of this would happen. You need to try and try and try, but if it's genuinely not working, then it's just a way of being like, you need to try something else, because there's something else that's gonna suit your business better. We
were like down the right route, weren't we? Like we've already spent all this time doing our like designing this app basically that we can use for our one-to-one clients and people who do want to go, like, you know, it's not like we've completely not made anything from that more affordable option, but it just didn't quite have this blow up like
and
thing that we were envisioning.
Yeah, a lot of times that happens in businesses. Like, there was another occasion when we thought we wanted to do clothing, and we definitely still want to do clothing.
One day we'd love to bring out some clothing.
But this is another thing that we were like, yeah, it's going to be so good, and like we had a great idea. We had this burning desire to do it.
We had a brand name. Like, I was going to go and trademark
we designed everything.
it.
The designs actually look really
yeah, and
good.
we've still got them. So one day you might see them. But this is we thought it was really important to mention these things because we put both the app and the designing the clothes.
We
and
put
stuff,
a lot of money,
so much
a lot
money
of
and
thought.
time and effort. Yeah, and we got. We were going to have it like properly screen print. Well, we did have it screen printed, and we paid to have the stencil made, and then the hoodies that we wanted, the original hoodies that we wanted to be, because we wanted to do like tracksuits and stuff, were like we wanted to do something quality. We didn't want to just sell like, I don't know, just a cheap hoodie that had our name on it or had our brand name on it. And so we were like, this is going to be really good. We're really going to put.
We originally picked out a really good heavyweight.
Yeah, and we were like, it's going to be sustainable. It's going to be so good. And then the heavyweight one was a little bit more expensive. So then we thought we found another really good option. And then the company that we went with made the prints and everything, and then gave us the hoodies, and then they gave it to us, and it wasn't the same quality. It wasn't
the same quality, but they tried to
tell us that it was.
But and that's another thing. That's another thing about people taking advantage. Like, we're two young girls, and we were young, so people will try and take the piss where they can.
Yeah, 100%. And that kind of now that we've gone through that experience, which I don't regret, I probably would have been more vocal, and I would have said, look, we've paid for this, like, these aren't the samples that we asked for. Like, you can't just say you're going to charge us more when you agreed originally for this.
Yeah.
And now that would have been the case if we go back into it. We've got a bit more of a backbone with that.
Yeah.
And I think, so I don't regret for a second the fact that
you learn through the mistakes.
Yeah, but you spend all this time on things, and you shouldn't be disheartened if you've spent hours and time and money on something and then that doesn't do better, because then you go down a different route. And then in the end, we spent more time developing the app, and we've started YouTube, and we're doing that. And
there's always a lesson, isn't there?
Yeah,
there's always a lesson. And like for YouTube, for example, we started doing like mini vlogs, didn't we? They probably weren't what our audience wanted to see, but it's good to just try. Like, if you are thinking about maybe starting a business and you are young, like, this is the perfect time to do it, because you're at home most probably, so you don't have to worry about paying bills and stuff if you're first setting up.
Yeah.
So it's the perfect time to do it. You probably pay for a car and like your phone bill and stuff, but that's not going to be a huge stress, rather than waiting until you have a house and you've got a mortgage to pay. It's a good job you started young.
Yeah,
but you have to just try, and you have to just put yourself out there and try and make risks. And I think another point as well is, like, I held myself back originally from starting the account and starting a business because I didn't want to get judged, and I was so fearful of what people were going to say. And luckily now I look back and I'm just like, I'm so glad you made me do it. I'm so glad, because if I had just ran with the fear of people judging me just because I was doing something different and just because I was trying to make a business out of something that I was doing that I was loving, then I wouldn't be in this position right now, 100%. And I would probably be doing something that I just didn't enjoy.
And another, going back to a thought I had about like things going wrong and not going how you want it to be as well, is I was talking to the gym where I work, the owner of that gym. Obviously runs like a big business, and he was saying I was really down, like going into work and doing PT, and things just weren't going how we wanted it to go, and it affects your whole life. It affects like your mood, it affects everything, because you've spent all this, it's like your baby, like you've created this baby, and then all of a sudden it's just not, you have this huge expectation. I think that's the thing as well, when you set your expectations so high, then there's so much further to fall. And don't get me wrong, you should still aim high, but I think that's what we did. Like, we had really high hopes, and then it wasn't exactly, it was still amazing, but it wasn't exactly how we wanted it. And he said, any business owner, anyone that's successful, you try 10 different things, and then one of those things is successful. Like, probably 90% of people who are like successful business owners have tried 10 things, and that one thing that they've done is shut off. But because they've tried so many different things and they've worked so hard on all these things, that one thing was worth it and it did well, or maybe
and
two or maybe
so
three.
many people that we've spoken to that have a successful business has said the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And you do things and it doesn't work, and then you keep trying, or you make mistakes and then you learn from those mistakes. And that's another thing that I was going to say about perfectionism, and we're both such
Oh my
perfectionists.
God, I am the biggest perfectionist you could ever imagine. Well, actually my dad is, but I am a huge perfectionist.
I am as well. And all through school it haunted me, because everything I did, for me it manifested in like revising.
Yeah.
And I was in GCSEs I was such a like revision freak, because I was so scared of getting like mediocre grades. I don't know why. My parents weren't strict.
Can't relate.
Like I didn't a lot of people aren't going to be able to relate, but I was just so like, if I'm going to do this, my art has to be perfect, my exam results need to, and I just like, it consumed me to the point where I'd have to sit and revise for hours every night, even though I was doing GCSEs. Like,
didn't see for years.
Needed to get a life, didn't I? I needed to get a life. But no, I'm proud of it.
But
in some
that's
ways,
just your that's just your perfectionism coming out in
different
that.
ways. Yeah, and yours is like your video editing. Like it's worth it to an extent, but with things like doing a business, you have to make the mistakes. You're not going to get it perfect straight away, because
100%.
if you don't make mistakes, how are you going to learn?
And
to get
if
a
you
backbone?
do chase that perfectionism, and if you do chase for the right moment, you're just never gonna post anything. Like
No,
I
you'll stop
went
yourself.
through that. I went
I
through
have
that.
to
Oh my
say,
God, yeah.
yeah, just
like Emily,
do
just
it.
shut up and just post
Yeah,
it.
I get like,
and usually as well, they do pretty well. Like I over analyze a lot.
the jogger video, the tracksuit video that we just posted.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Like, if something's not like quite right, if the camera's just quite a little bit higher than usual, I will have a panic attack by it.
Yeah, you'll be like, oh Zoe, the lighting's a little bit off in that. The content in the video could be incredible, but there's like a bit of a Smith machine poking out in the corner, and you're like, no, the whole vibe is off.
Get rid of it. I can't look at that little yellow thing, that little yellow handle is in my video.
I get text, Zoe, I can't post this tonight. I just need a little bit of a break. It's too much. I can't do it.
No, seriously though, perfectionists that run a business, I am with you on that.
But I feel like a lot of people who run businesses are perfectionists.
Yeah,
because that's how
you've got to work to that. You've got to work to that.
Yeah.
It's a strength in many ways, but like it can really hold you back.
Don't let it hold you back.
Yeah.
Don't, like, sometimes you do just have to do it, don't you?
Yeah,
You just have to do it.
100%. I'm trying to think of any other advice that we have really.
Yeah, I think social life is like a big thing that we kind of... Did we mention that already? Like,
No, I guess we haven't really touched on that. I think it's... I mean, like we said earlier...
work-life balance.
Work-life balance. Like, that is really important, especially if you are... I don't know, if you do run your own business and you've got your phone there, and you'll know that, like, you'll be in the middle of a breakdown and you'll be replying to clients just, like, absolutely crying your eyes out. Because that's just how it is when you run a business. You can't. I struggle,
It's
and I
the
know you
separation
struggle
when you get home.
Yeah.
Not like I've really had to like have a word with myself. One of my friends is like always very straight talking, and I remember her saying to me like about a year ago now, she was like, "You're really bad at being on your phone when you're with me," and it's like WhatsApps, because I message clients on, like, online clients on WhatsApp sometimes. I'll be in the middle of something and I'll have my personal phone and my work phones together, and I'll be literally in a conversation and I'm like, sorry, what? And that's so rude. That's so rude.
but you don't realise, I don't think.
No.
Like, that's
And you
good
have to
that you've
be
got a friend
intentional
that's going to
about
turn
it.
around and say that.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think it's easy to, especially if you're working by yourself and you've not, like, you can get into a little pool of, like, just business and work.
And they can't see that it's a client saying, hey Zoe, I'm really stressed, I've not managed to do this or that.
Of course they can't.
And then in my head I'm like, oh bless them, I need to make sure I reply.
Yeah.
But to my friend who's in the middle of talking to me,
Yeah.
they're like, bro, you're not at work.
It is so important to realise, like, when to switch off, especially
Yeah.
if you're like, that is the one positive of having a job like we used to. Like, you could just clock
your
out and then
work.
that's it.
Yeah.
But because we're always, you know, I edit a lot, so I don't really have a strict time schedule of when I need to be on my phone, but I will edit until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And that's just, I'm enjoying it, but I don't
have to be
get
intentional.
time to be with my family or blah, 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 because I get so indulged in it. And when I'm on a roll, I don't want to stop.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, it's 4 a.m. and I'm like, I need to go to sleep.
Yeah. And you do have to be intentional, I think. Like, for me, often if I'm going around to see a friend, I'm like, okay, phone on do not disturb, or me and my boyfriend, if we've gone out on a date, we both do this thing where we're like, okay, phone's on the table, face down, we're not allowed to touch, like we have to have permission if we need to, like it has to be a good valid reason if we need to touch the phone.
That's good.
And it's like down on the table, and it's not a control thing, it's not like you better not go on, it's just
no 100%.
You have to be intentional because he's self-employed as well, so we're both like ding ding ding, and you
don't want to crash as well. You don't want to put so much effort and like time into it that you forget about living, really, because it is so easy, like when you're really invested in your business and like wanting to make more and more and more, but it's so easy to forget where you came from, like, and just appreciate where you are.
And you're really good at reminding that, because we always said that we're not bothered about like making millions or anything like that. We just want to have a job that we enjoy and love, that we can live on.
Yeah, and I've always said
you said when we had that big stress about the app and like engagement being low on Instagram, and we get it consumes your whole life. And I remember you saying to me, but Zoe, our goal was never to be rich. Our goal was to have a job that we love and to be able to live on it, and we've done both those things. So let's just take a deep breath.
And 2 or 3 years ago, we wouldn't be moaning about flipping getting only 1,000 likes.
No, the bar just get
like that would 2 or 3 years ago, if you told me we were getting 1,000 likes on Instagram, I would go, consistently. What the hell?
Yeah, that's
amazing. That is crazy. Because one day we were thinking, oh, we got 800 followers. Yeah. We never thought that we would be there. But as soon as you reach there, then you're striving for more. And then one day you turn around and you're like, oh, I've only got 1,000 likes on that post. How does that like work? You've got to just bring yourself back down to earth and be like, hang on, that's actually really good. I'm doing well. Just draw a line under it, and you're actually doing well, and like
and it's good
carry
to strive.
On.
It's good to make goals. It's good to carry on. It's good to have goals. It's good to be wanting the best thing, as long as it's not taken away from your happiness, taken away from your gratitude, taken away from noticing that, look what I've done, kind of thing.
We are motivational speakers. I got so involved in that conversation.
We've been talking for about 45 minutes.
Does someone want to just employ us for being motivational speakers?
We're switching careers, that's it.
Maybe we can go into the government.
I think we've just told ourselves we can do anything that we sound like.
Right, I think we need to end this here, because that egos.
Let's cut that one.
Yeah. Guys, we're going to wrap this up because we've actually been waffling for so long.
But I hope you're feeling motivated to all go start your own business now.
Yeah. You just need to carry on, guys. Just carry on. Do something you love and then just run with it. Because we didn't make anything from...
Don't care what other people think.
No, absolutely not. And we didn't make anything from our business for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Genuinely, so 2 or 3 years. So you never know when it's going to take off.
And on that note, we'll see you next week with our final episode.
Bye!
Bye!